Hello, and welcome to our webinar dedicated today to the powerful medicine of the plant remedies and how these plant remedies can support such profound deep healing as the core emotional healing process that Alicia Miller put together. And we have Alicia here with us today.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, thank you and welcome, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for everything that you do and for offering this for everyone to understand and learn more about your formulas and how they can assist in deep healing and how to use them at different times. I know you have so many questions. I know a lot of my clients love, everyone who takes them has profound experiences with them and questions come up. So I'm so grateful for you to do this today.
Thank you. And for those that don't know me, let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Anna Bazarnaya. I'm originally Russian, and I've been working with plant medicine for close to 10 years now. But the way I've met Alicia, it was through deep emotional healing process that I went through myself. And I was living in Costa Rica at that time from 2015 to 2018. And I was in a deep healing journey myself when I realized that there was some traumas from my childhood that prevented me from fully developing as a functioning adult. I didn't know the terminology at that time, but I was digging deeper and deeper, understanding what is preventing me, what are the limited beliefs, and what is the inner child and what is the wounded inner child. So I found Alicia's work, and I was a client of Alicia. I went through core emotional healing self-study myself. I worked privately for 3 months, and I also participated in the healing immersions, 2 of them that were really, really deep and helped me a lot. But what happened is that as I was going through the core emotional healing process, I was by myself in Costa Rica. I didn't have a lot of support available at that time. And also being sensitive empath, I noticed how difficult it is to me to function in the world and connect with the same people that wounded me in the past, or just in general, connect with the outside world and with people as I learn to set the boundaries, as I learn how to reparent myself. I felt that there was a need for extra support and extra push to catalyze me through this deep healing process. And I have to admit, there was an element of impatience in me too, because I was 35, 36 years old at that time, and I was really wanted to live my life fully, to the fullest and as soon as possible. So while I was living in Costa Rica, I was already working with plant remedies, with essential oils. I was distilling my own plants, and I started making my own flower essences at the time, on top of being trained by the Flower Essence Society of California. So just to also briefly introduce, I'm a clinical aromatherapist, and I love essential oils, but my specialty is how the plants, how the essential oils can help us shift psychologically and how they assist in emotional healing. So this became my specialty, I would say. And same with flower essences. I'm deeply interested how they can help us shift and heal. And the reason I absolutely love and adore flower essences and essential oils is because they are an opposite to a traditional Western medicine remedies that mask the symptoms and bring temporarily relief from a certain symptom, but don't go into the core. And this is where Alicia's program come to play. It is core emotional healing, because you need to go somewhere deep inside into the areas that are hidden from our consciousness. We cannot analyze ourselves from the position of mind. And that's why it is so important to have help in this process in terms of a trained therapist and practitioner that knows how to access those deep wounds from the childhood, the abuse, the neglect, because when we go through childhood emotional trauma, we don't know how things was supposed to be for us as children, and very often we think that our childhood was perfect, like there's nothing wrong on the surface. We were fed, loved, and taken care of. But as children, we don't realize that we have much more profound needs, emotional needs, that when they are not met, even the best attempts of the parents to raise us well-fed and nurtured can still contribute to our deep wound and unhappiness as we grow up. So that's why through her core emotional healing process, Alicia offers also deep support, personal support, and maybe you can briefly talk about it, Alicia. And after that, I will explain what essential oils and flower essences bring in terms of the support to catalyze and help you to go through the process.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you, Anna. Support, yes. And I absolutely love our collaboration. We've been collaborating for 4 years with using your remedies and with our clients, and it has been the perfect support for our clients. So both myself and Doug provide ongoing support, and that is actually what is needed. A lot of people think, well, I just want to do a private session with you. And a private session is not going to help you go through the process. This is a process. Healing from your childhood wounds and getting through the layers of protection is a process that needs to be paced and held and supported and guided. And so I have created the way for that to happen. And the way is through this core emotional healing self-study to learn the process. So everyone, it takes you out of going to a practitioner to do it for you to learning how to do it, because that's the only way it actually works, is for you to learn how to do it. But none of us have been taught these skills, what emotions are, what wounds are, what protections are. And so the self-study, there's a lot of lessons that walk you through the process step by step. And it's important to go in that order that I created, and then also be supported through it. So I have a 6-week class where I go through it with a group, and the group process has proven to be more powerful than private sessions because of the sharing and also the connecting and practicing being vulnerable and being heard and supported in a safe space. All of that is a part of the healing. And also getting my access to my support, feedback, and guidance throughout the week. So it's not just a one session here and there, it's a group session, and then access to me in a private forum of how what is happening with you, to get feedback, to get the support that you need. So it is a corrective parenting experience as well, because I'm here for you all the time whenever you need it. And there's no, hold that you don't need to hold back, and that's a part of the healing too. The fears may come up about sharing because of what happened in childhood. So we are always there for you, from the 6-week class to moving into a deeper process with both me and Doug. So you have these parental, a healthy corrective experience with woman and a man who's there for all of your inner child's needs and validating your inner child's feelings and helping you learn how to do that yourself. and then the whole group is supporting you too. It's just it's a beautiful process. And so support is the key to all of this. And Anna, your formulas are so supportive because they help assist, and you're going to go over that, I'm sure, with the process itself, and with connecting to what each person needs that they have been protecting their whole life, that's getting in the way of healing and connecting more deeply to yourself, to know what you want and know what's good for you and what's not. So
Thank you, Alicia. And yes, as I briefly mentioned, I created all these formulas as I was going through core emotional healing myself. So I did my best to give myself that support, because what happens when you start healing from the emotional trauma, you start to peel off the layers of the so-called false self, what you learned as the defensive mechanism to survive in the world. And you forgot who you are in your core, in your essence, and what the flower essences do and essential oils do. They help you to, yes, to connect back to yourself, get stronger, and get courage to stay who you really are, and relearn to communicate with the world and people around you. So let me go through the kit, formula by formula, and explain and demo what each formula do and how to work properly with the bottles. So we'll start with the Sacred Lotus. And flower essences, just again, like brief summary. What they do? They work with our energy body. Those are vibrational remedies. They don't smell, and they don't have taste. All you can taste is the rose glycerol that I put inside, and the cognac as a preservation. But this is vibrational medicine. And in order to be activated, you need to shake it. You need to shake it and rub it between your hands. And as any preparations with water and something energetic in it, it loves your energy. So make your bottles your own, hold them, breathe into them, set the intention for healing, work with them, make them, and ask them, please help me heal. You may think that it doesn't matter, but it actually does, because we are powerful healers, and our intention and real want to heal can expedite more than anything else in the world. Our readiness to work with the power of nature, to work with healers, to accept their help, can move you forward much faster. So Sacred Lotus is a very interesting preparation that I made in Costa Rica, actually, on the day of the Lion's Gate. Very powerful celestial event. And what it does, and why I recommend to start with this particular formula, is it brings you in, it connects you to this core essence, your core self that I was talking about, something deep inside that is laying dormant and forgotten. Some people call it the higher self too. It's like your maximum potential, your maximum strongest, powerful, truest self you can possibly be. So Sacred Lotus is the beginning of the heart opening, in terms of heart opening towards yourself and towards your own emotions too. I also noticed an interesting effect of the Sacred Lotus in terms of understanding the archetype of the mother. Like the mother, it doesn't matter who your mother was, and was she a perfect role model or not. For many of us, it's not quite true. So understanding what is this mother, the ideal mother that you as a child needed. And for everyone, it will be different. And I notice it on many clients that they understand how they want to be treated, how they want to be nurtured, how they need to receive this love, support. What is it for you? And also, as a side effect, you start noticing what are you not receiving, and how others are treating you, and how are you treating yourself. So it's a gentle remedy that can help to gently step into the healing process for those that is completely disconnected with their feelings, never did any healing work, doesn't know what the inner child is, and have never been connected on such deep level with him or herself. It also can be just a very incredibly supportive healing formula for those that are deeply in the process of healing and releasing and processing. And here, I think, can I ask for your expertise, Alicia, on that?
Yes, I find it to be helpful for anyone who's having a hard time loving themselves as well. Like just that creating this opening for them to connect to their own unconditional love for themselves, which is a process that doesn't happen just by taking the essence, right away, but it helps with the process to love yourself. And just like the lessons in the core emotional healing self-study and the process, I begin with lesson 1, which creates an opening, and I believe Sacred Lotus heart, Sacred Heart, your Sacred Heart is Sacred Lotus. Sacred Lotus does the same. It creates this opening to this deepening and releasing some of the protections and falseness to get down into the truth, your heart's truth.
Yes, beautifully said. And thank you for adding that element of unconditional love. This is what we need to learn. When love is given to us and we give love, what is it? How it can be without the conditions and without trying to please anyone. Anyway, so this is the Sacred Lotus, and I recommend to take it if you can. Take it maybe 2 weeks up to a month before you start the process. I know for some people, especially that sign up for your class, Alicia, for example, at the last minute and jump on board, I still would recommend to stick with it, with the formula, at least for a couple of weeks. Now I'm going to transition into the inner child. So I would say when you work with Alicia, it's the opening healing of the Sacred Lotus and then transition into the inner child is highly beneficial because you have the support that you mentioned, Alicia, because it's very difficult to go through the process alone, especially for the first time. It's uncharted waters. You are just learning and you're wobbly in the world of your emotions and understanding the trauma that starts to surface up. And I'll talk about it in a moment. So this is one of the most frequently asked questions, like what do I do first if I'm already entering the class? So the best way, and also you can talk to Alicia directly, because you have an opportunity to discuss your particular case and your life story with her. But for those that work with the self-study, I would say, and I understand the impatience to dive deeply, but still allow yourself a little bit of an opening with the Sacred Lotus, at least 2 weeks. Month is even better. And then you can start going through the chapters and then transition to the inner child. So inner child is an updated formula from the older kit, and I want to talk a little bit about it. It contains Agrimony, Black-Eyed Susan, Immortelle, Echinacea, Golden Eardrops, and Bleeding Heart. So it's a combination of the flowers that Black-Eyed Susan is the classical anti-repressor. And it also an flower essence that takes you into your unconscious. And this is where all the trauma lives. And that's why we walk the world without the awareness that something is wrong and something is torturing us. And some patterns are playing as the broken record on the replay because we cannot see that record. This record exists deep in your unconscious. And the only way to get in there is through the skillfully trained practitioner, sometimes hypnotherapy, psychology, and also essential oils and flower essences. I mentioned one flower, which is Black-Eyed Susan, but many of them do the same thing. They basically allow you to relax into your unconscious, and memories and childhood memories of past events start to pop up in your head. And this is as soon as you become aware of what happened, this is where the core emotional healing process can happen, when you reprocess that trauma and can re-record this broken record that you some time ago you didn't even know existed. And as I mentioned, flower essences are vibrational medicine. They work on your subtle body, your energetic field, and recalibrate your what traditional Chinese medicine is fully aware of, your energetic body, like all the parts, like your emotional, like the health of your organs, of your emotional body, and recreate the broken flow of the energy throughout your body. And essential oils work even more directly, and had been explained even in Western medicine, that when you inhale essential oils, the molecule go directly into your limbic system. And the unique fact about essential oils is that essential oils go directly into the area that stores trauma, which is amygdala. And for many Western medicine remedies, they cannot pass the so-called blood-brain barrier, and they cannot access our brain to do the healing work. Essential oils can. And more than that, when you inhale, especially directly from the bottle, or you can apply on your palms, when you inhale essential oils through the nose, they go directly into the so-called primitive brain, the limbic system, under your cortex. So they bypass the cortex, which is your mind. And your mind's work is to block you and protect you from the trauma of the past. So it's interesting how the healing can only work when we shut down our protective mind and our logic and allow us to go deeper into unconscious and work with our emotions. So I wanted to do this quick introduction so you understand better why I brought in essential oils into this process, because they can do tremendous work with the trauma. And as I said, can do something that is an equivalent to a hypnosis or deep psychological work naturally.
Sorry, Anna, can you explain the difference for everyone between the flower essences and essential oils? Because you do include both in your kit, and you were going over the sacred lotus and then the inner child flower essence. And I just wanted to make sure people knew the flower essence is different. That's taken internally. Yes. And that the roll that you just were holding up smelling, which is essential oil. And I think most people are familiar with essential oils with, doTERRA and living.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. I've only used yours since not used. And yours have a whole different quality. So I remember when we first met and you rolled release on your wrist, I could feel actually I could feel it. And I actually, I just felt it, and I felt the power of it. And, and you said, can I put this on? And I said, yeah. And can I use some of that? So yeah, I think it'd be good just to go over the difference between flower essence, which is taken internally, and essential oils, and also yours.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Great question, because I've been swimming in it for so long that I don't realize, and this is where answering some of the most pressing questions here too. So flower essences are vibrational in nature. What it means is that we don't, in the vibrational preparation, we don't have any chemical components. It's fully energetical preparation. What we do is that we take a living flower, and it has to be a specifically picked flower from either it is a wild flower or it has to be from a pristine garden, because where the plant grows really affects its life force and its characteristics. So we take the flower and we do the solar infusion. So we basically transfer the energetic imprint, the life force prana of the flower into the water. And as a result, we just get water that stores the information about the flower. And then we preserve it with I do it with a cognac. Other people preserve with brandy. So when we do that, on the surface, it just looks like water. So it doesn't have taste, or it doesn't have a smell. And this is why it's called essence, is because we capture the soul, the energy, the prana of the plant, basically the essence. So another word for that is essence. That's the flower essences. And when I put them in my water and drink, I don't really notice anything in terms of smell or taste. All I have is the energetic effect. And with flower essences, less is more. That means that after you activate, you shake your bottle, and you can take the flower essences directly from the bottle, and all you need is 2-3 drops. Or you can put the same 2-3 drops in your water or your water bottle. And so less drops, but more frequently is the key. So if you're really struggling with something and you need help and support of the flower essences more, do it every 15 minutes. You can take 2-3 drops every 15 minutes for some time until you feel the shift. The classical way, how Dr. Bach taught us, is 2-3 drops 4 times a day. First thing in the morning, last thing in the evening before the bedtime when we are in this transitional state, and 2 times during the day whenever you want. So the minimum time is 4 times, the maximum time temporarily up to every 15 minutes, but just 2-3 drops. Adding the whole bottle will not make a difference. So 2-3 drops, more than enough. You can also apply, because it's energetical remedy. You can also apply directly in your body, because sometimes trauma really surfaces up as our diseases. As Alicia also teaches, your symptoms are a gift. So if you have a flare up, if you have a tension in your shoulders, or some pain in the body, or you've been struggling with a disease, you can put it, directly like on your body, and massage, and put it on your meridians too, and on your pulse points. You can put it on your heart, which is incredible. It's a direct connection to your nervous system and to your heart. So though it's mostly for external use, you still can apply it for internal use. You still can use it externally. You can also add your flower essences to the room sprays, into your bath when you soak, into your skincare. So you have more and more of this healing effect, whatever you do in your life. So the more you can incorporate them into anything, you can put them in food, you can put it in your tea and coffee, you can put them in your soup or your evening wine, up to you. Yeah. So whatever you are, make it part of your life. It's not just don't treat it as an aspirin in your medicine cabinet. Take it with you all the time. Hold it. The more you work with it, the more you feel it. Like I'm trained in sensing the energy. I can just feel the energy by holding the bottle. And this is how I am transitioning to essential oils in just 1 second. That's how I also feel and choose the essential oils that go into the formulas. So each formula has 11 to 13 different essential oils that I pick for their properties, how they can affect your emotions through your brain, through your body chemistry, and also the effect on amygdala and the release of the old trauma. So the choice of the essential oils is how to expedite and achieve maximum possible effect. So essential oils have smell. So they have the word essential because they also capture the essence of the plant, but more on the biochemical level. So here we actually work with the chemistry of the plants, and essential oils are an equivalence of the hormones of the plants. So they're very, very concentrated. They're very potent, and that's why they have to be safely diluted. So the formulas that I sell, it's safely diluted to be used directly from the bottle anywhere on your body. Just don't put it directly on your eyes, and it's not for internal use. This essential oils, and this is the school that I'm been trained in. We use essential oils externally only, but it doesn't limit us in terms of just inhalation. We can smell directly from the bottle as often as you need. Minimum, I would say 3-4 times a day, but as often as you need. And maybe you noticed as I speak through this this webinar, I keep using the oils, and it's so intuitive that I just incorporate it in my life in any way I want. Sometimes I will just apply it on my hands and activate my hands of gold, my healing hands, and just work, you know, energetically. You have the subtle body around yourself. You can work by just, you know, applying the oils into your aura, because the essential oils that I work with are very specific. Not all the essential oils created equally, because the way they've been grown, the way they've been harvested, where they grew, it all affects the plant. Basically, I work with the really high frequency essential oils, because you can capture the chemicals, like the biochemistry of the plant, but you don't necessarily catch the soul of the plant. That's why, you know, you can hold two different bottles. One, I don't want to use names, but okay, for example, you can hold doTERRA oil, and you can hold or essential oils from Whole Foods that I don't know where they come from, and you can hold another bottle that came from an artisanal distiller who grew the plant, loved the plant, harvested with respect of the plant. Because when we distill plants for essential oils, they contain water that was in that plant at the time it was harvested. What does it mean? Water has memory. I don't know if you're familiar with the work about the memory of the water, but yes, our water records the vibration, the words, everything that is around it. And the way, at the moment when the plant was harvested, it recorded everything that was happening around. And if it was harvested with a tractor, you know, stepped over and no love or any emotions went into the process, the essential oils will be the same. It's kind of an expression. You can capture you can have my body, but you will never have my soul. So the same is happening with essential oils, and it's very important to have them as high frequency as possible, because what happens is that our body and our brain vibrate on a certain frequency. And the lower the frequency of the body is, the more we are prone to the disease and emotional discomfort. Essential oils uplift us, not just by working with the brain, but also working with our energy body. When you just apply something that is more high frequency than your own body, you elevate your frequency. So it's an easy way to make yourself better with just the right oils. And that's why I don't cut corners. I work only with the highest quality available on the market, and I hand choose because I can feel if this oil is alive or is just a combination of the chemicals. So I hope I answered the question. And so essential oils do smell, and they're aromatic molecules that work with your brain and with your auric field. And your essential oils come in the package with a little card that explain about the oil, what's in there, and most importantly, how to apply. And you can also find more information on the website on maitriverde.com in the section of aromatherapy and flower essences. I have the whole page dedicated on how to use flower essences. So should we move back to inner child. There is a lot of information. I hope it's not overwhelming. How are we doing? Fine. Okay. So back to the inner child. And actually, that's good that we brought it up, because that's very important. When you start working with Sacred Lotus, you also start working with Maitri. These two formula work really, really good together. And they're basically, Maitri is the name of my company, and it means unconditional love and acceptance of yourself. So that's what these two formulas do. They will allow you to connect to yourself and start accepting yourself the way you are, and work with your feelings, with your emotions. So start using these two together. And as you transition to the inner child, you also continue with Maitri, because that will give you that real, like, gentle release and support, with more acceptance and more love towards yourself. And some essential oils like frankincense, rose, and cistus and helichrysum, they are natural. They're like golden healers of the plant world. So they will already, like, as soon as your awareness comes to you, that you understand which traumas you received in the past, like what needs to be healed, you also get an incredible support of the essential oils that already start shifting and help you to process. So inner child, the kit includes one formula, but you might need more than this. And this is, we are going back, Alicia, to the questions that I frequently receive, like how, like if it is in a 6-week course, how do I work with the formulas? And it's also for the self-study, like how fast will you go through all the materials? And the way I usually reply to this is, yes, you can go through the chapters quickly, and you just read through them, but then you go back, and for every person, each part of the core emotional healing process will be different. Somebody will have to spend a month on this chapter, for example, or this part. Somebody will have to spend more time with boundaries. Can you comment here, Alicia?
Yes, great question, because everyone is coming to the self-study with different levels of awareness, experiences, past experiences. Some people have been working on themselves their whole lives. They're used to feeling their emotions. So they could start processing right away and have more access to things, and more things can come up for them to work with. And on the other end of that spectrum are people who've just been repressed their whole life and not really been able to connect to their repressed emotions, and they tend to either be distracted or avoiding feeling in many different ways, or they're just getting triggered a lot and having a lot of emotional issues, emotional eating, emotional outbursts, and maybe going on medication for anxiety and depression. And so it's really important to ask Anna or myself about, what you specifically need to use at different times if you're unsure. For instance, with core emotional healing and Anna's with your formulas, I think as well, we don't recommend anyone with a mood disorder such as bipolar or borderline to go into these processes, because there's already emotional instability. So other techniques are better than core emotional healing and going into the deep unconscious and bringing up a lot of emotions for those people. Now, for most people, core emotional healing and the formulas will help you. And as long as you are not on some mood stabilizing medication. I just wanted to have that disclaimer in there. So if you you know, a lot of people just have difficulty accessing um, memories and feelings from childhood. And this is what this is um, good for. And so, yes, everyone's going to be different. Some people, a lot of people are in their heads and they may take in the information in the self-study and not be able to really drop into your body, into your feelings, may be in a lot of protections. I do find people have different levels of defenses, resistance, the ways that you've protected yourself. Some are very strong, and it takes, then that would be really good for you to continue using the formulas if you have very strong defenses where you feel protected and not able to really go into the process. Honest formulas are perfect for people like that. If you you know, a lot of healers we work with, you know, are able to just go into processing, reflecting, have the gifts to do all of that. The formulas can help, but they can use them in different ways at different times. So there isn't really a set, you know, in terms of, I do really love, you know, using Sacred Lotus to begin. And you know, for, like you said, on a couple weeks, a month, to really open with unconditional love, and using Maitreya unconditional love, the essential oil as well, really creating the opening with love for your inner child, for your feelings, because you're going to need that. You're going to need that internal support when things come up, and you're going to need my support, or me and Doug, depending on where you are in the process, as things come up, to know what to do with them. Because if you use these formulas, especially the inner child, which is very powerful, to bring you to your unconscious and bring up things for you to feel and heal, so you can move on from them, so you can heal your symptoms, so you can shift out of these patterns of relationship that have been dysfunctional and unhealthy for you. That's, you know, the reason why you're doing this work, is to, you know, to get out of all of that ongoing struggles and suffering. And so, but when that stuff comes up, you need to be supported. So that's why it's really important to make sure that you're taking the inner child when you're in one of our programs, the class, if you're ready for it, if you're ready to go into that. If you're feeling a lot and you're already processing a lot, and you can talk more about this, Anna, that you may not need to take inner child at that point. So you have to kind of monitor, you know, your emotional state, and then also check in with us about it if you're not sure.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm trying to make it as self-explanatory in the descriptions, and I encourage everyone to always read and reread and reconnect with like what every formula does, to understand, because part of what I wanted to talk about is our response to flower essences, because just because you cannot feel the taste or smell, it doesn't mean that they're not powerful. They are. And what they do is that they work with your emotions. And I also put some of the flowers that will actually help you to pass through the current state. And for me, this is very important, because you don't want to be stuck in the trauma forever. You also don't want to be stuck in the victim role. So this is very important to understand that, yes, you take, for example, inner child, you work through the layer that surfaced up for you, and then you gently kind of plateau out of that process, and to stabilize you, to help you stabilize and kind of anchor in the world around you in this newly discovered state. I created the lion's heart, that works incredibly on different layers. And if you read all the flowers that are in the formulas, you will notice that some of them appear in more than one. And there is a reason for that. It's almost creating this unseen thread that and continue to use the same flower that will work on you. For example, echinacea in lion's heart and in inner child works with your core self. It builds your immunity, emotional immunity, and really anchors you in your solar plexus, in your power center, that you start to like, enough is enough. Like, I can stand up for myself. But it will show up a little bit different in your inner child when you just, it's like the first baby steps there, right? And then when we go into lion's heart, this is more an empowering, anchoring, and in kind of integrational formula. I know we have an integration where I will go to it in a second. But this is like a beginning stage integration that you can use anytime. And this is where it gets confusing for some people, because I recommend you work with one healing formula at a time. So for example, you don't do Sacred Lotus and Inner Child. No, it's too much. Don't, please. Same with other formulas. You don't use integration with Lion's Heart. You don't do release with Lion's Heart. You kind of, oh, sorry. You don't do mix any other formulas together. Sorry for that confusion. You don't do Sacred Lotus in an integration and Inner Child together. You don't do that. But Lion's Heart, you can gently bring in and replace one of the instances during the day with just Lion's Heart. So as I described, your typical timing will be 4 times a day. So you can skip maybe daytime or an evening, whatever you need, and replace a part of the day instead of your healing formula with Lion's Heart. Why? Because sometimes you don't need healing during the day. Sometimes you need to stand up for yourself, especially if you have a job interview or you have people around you coming over or calling you that will trigger you. And this is a perfect formula to work with your triggers and boundaries. So again, the more you work with the formulas, the more you read what they do for you, the more you hopefully connect with it and understand what they do for you and when to take them. So this is very important. The Lion's Heart can be taken by itself pretty much any time. It's just a helpful formula to live in the modern world and be yourself and never lose yourself. So you can, if you just want to take a break, for example, if the intensity, this is another question that I'm answering right now, is when enough is enough, when it is actually too much. And sometimes we go so deep into the emotions and into the trauma, and we got stuck in this mode that the whole world becomes an enemy, and we just cannot function in the world in terms of like, we are falling apart to a degree that we can't perform day-to-day tasks. This is, I think, a good indication to back off. Or when you cry extensively, nonstop for days, or you go so deep into depression, not the understanding of what happened to you in the past, but you cannot pull yourself out into the light. So I would say this is more than enough. And it's okay to take a break. It's okay. It's okay to allow yourself to be kind and just say, you know what, I just can't take it anymore right now. And to step back, not give up the whole process, but just give yourself a day or 2 or 3, maybe a week. And Alicia, do you want to add something to this?
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, because pacing is so important. And as you mentioned in the beginning, just everyone wants to get it done. Everyone wants things to happen quickly, and this is our culture. It's, take a pill to get the symptom relieved immediately. And that mindset is still operating, you know, or the conditioning of our society to achieve and make things happen, and to not feel even like, oh, I don't want to feel this anymore. I want to get out of this. So, you know, when you're going into this process, it's, you know, you're doing the opposite often of what you've been taught and conditioned, of like taking it slow, and pacing is really important, to not try to get it done, because it doesn't work that way anyway, and to take your time. And that's what your inner child, everyone's inner child needed that we didn't get, which is someone to have patience with us and to allow us just to not be okay and validate our feelings, rest if we wanted to, play if we wanted to, you know. So many people were, you know, raised in a house where you had to get things done and show what you've done, and to not waste time, you know. And so I think, you know, it's really important to, you know, this whole process, core emotional healing and Honest Formulas, is about getting in touch with your true feelings so you can take care of them. And a part of taking care of your feelings is knowing when enough's enough. Like when you're in something and you're not able to just live your life normally, like, you know, go to the store, or, you know, take care of your basic needs, it's time to take a break from emotionally processing. And also, I don't suggest that you do it all the time. Breaks are needed for integration. And so you don't get stuck. And so you don't go into overwhelm, which can also lead you going into a victim place, because in emotional overwhelm, it's easy for us to think the worst of everything. Like, it's not working, I'm getting worse, you know, all of those things happen when you're in emotional overwhelm. That's why I love, Anna, that you created Lion's Heart. Lion's Heart is so important, and it is so needed, really, like what you said, to live in our society, you know, like we can't just be resting and, you know, in our emotions all the time. We have to get things done and see family. And we don't want to be in our, we don't, definitely don't be taking inner child when you have to go see some family. Take Lion's Heart so you can be in your power and have some, you know, the protection is actually useful then. So yeah, so definitely breaks are needed, and pacing and taking it slow, revisiting, letting your process happen as well as it happened, not trying to dig it all up. I like to say, like, whatever is present for you now is what you're working with. It's not about going into everything and trying to get through all of your traumas or understand everything and trying to heal from everything at once. It's about what is up for you right now, and that's what you're working with. And then that's when the inner child can be useful, like working through the core of that, and then take a break and do Lion's Heart, and then see what happens next, you know. And life will give you many opportunities for the rest of your life to heal.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for your input. Yes, absolutely. That's why the kit has one bottle of each formula just as a starter, and for you to feel how your body, how your emotional body, how are you working with each of them. And you can always take breaks, pause, or if you need to go deeper, you might need 2 or 3 bottles of Inner Child, for example. For other people, it could be 2 or 3 bottles of Sacred Lotus before you can even, you know, go into your unconscious. Or now I'm switching to Release. I'll try to go through it as, you know, as efficiently as I can, but without leaving any details behind. So Release is an interesting combination. So it's kind of like every formula kind of ties to another one, so you're never falling out of the process. And release has some of the same same flowers that you see in other formulas. So there's a lot of support to this broken heart and all this, it's a balm on the wounds, but at the same time, you need to shed the old skin. And you need to also, like, when you become aware, when you work with inner child, you become aware of what happened when you were growing up. And more of the old stuff will continue to come up. And sometimes you never know when it hits you. And you suddenly become aware of something, a pattern or a memory or triggers that you work with, and you understand, you begin to understand with your mind consciously what happened in the past, or which emotions, like for many of us, including me, I grew up with certain repressed emotions. And when we were doing the healing immersion, Alicia couldn't make me get my anger out. I couldn't scream. I couldn't like nothing was coming out of me, because for years and years, it was not okay to do so. So release could be really a helpful remedy for the to retrain yourself to express all the feelings and emotions. But also the flowers inside of the release help you to, as I said, like, shed your old skin. It helps you transition, because in many emails that I receive, a lot of feedback is that, oh my God, I feel that I overgrew my old self, that something is happening to me, but I'm not quite sure how to function in the world. And this is where I kind of modified the release a little bit, adding the golden eardrops that help you to really let go of the past, of the old. After you did all the healing work, you really need to forget. Past is the past after you consciously dealt with that, not just put a wall around, oh, I don't want to go there. No, you looked in there, you saw it, you worked with it, you shed your skin, you cried your tears, you're ready to move on. So release begins to help you to really let go of the past, like process what needs to be processed, but also invite in this true essence, your core self, to really live in your body now. And and that's why the biggest part of the core emotional healing is to experience that. And my words cannot really explain better than what is going to happen with you. And if it gets too intense, back off and either do lion's heart to help you just stabilize, or sacred lotus, just to give yourself extra love. And when you work with the release flower essence, it's really beneficial to work with it together with the release formula, the aromatherapy formula. It helps you to really just get out of that old self. And now, finally, last but not least,
before you move on to that, Anna, if you don't mind, I wanted to just make a comment on release. And I love that you created that. And I want to just address, because I find that so many clients, and I just want to say, how to tell when you need it, when you're ready for it, is I hear so much of when clients are like, they have this thing and they feel it, and they don't, like, it's like, there's like this energy that is like, it's like boiling up. It can be leaking tears, but they're kind of like, they can feel themselves holding back. It's like that protection comes in, and then the coping mechanisms come in stronger. So whatever you have learned to use to find a release, but it's not actually releasing your emotions. So like emotionally eating, even masturbating, or whatever the coping mechanism release that you have used when you feel the craving for that. It could be even exercise. Some people have like a lot of emotions kind of boiling up, and they're like, I'm just going to go for a run to like shift it. And so I wanted to just, so all can pay attention to when you may need it is when, like, yeah, like, so the inner child is bringing things up to your awareness, and then your body is starting to process it, and then your protections come in. That's when you really need it to more fully feel this thing that's coming up. It can feel like a craving or uncomfortableness. You could feel altered. You can feel tightness. You can feel nausea. You can feel all this stuff going on in your body, and release will help you process these emotions that are expressing themselves in that way. That your emotions can be expressing themselves through physical symptom flare-ups as well. So um so I just wanted to say that, and I love that you added something to help, because when you do actually have a full release, not just having some, crying or getting frustrated, when you actually have a full emotional release, there is something that happens internally where you feel different than you've ever felt before. And then that what you added helps strengthen this new part that is now being allowed or accessed, that can be expressed, can be your will, can be your power, can be your self-worth, can be gifts. There could have been anger towards shaming of who you are and your gifts and expressing your gifts, then all of a sudden your gifts can come out. So just wanted to share that.
Oh, thank you so much. That is a beautiful addition, beautifully said. And so, yes, that's exactly, yes, 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 yes. I'm glad. Thank you for this addition. And yes, this after that, it basically brings us into the integration. And that's exactly what Alicia just said, is that when you release on this profound level, you really feel that you like the whole life crumbles, but in a good way. You look around and you don't recognize anything. You don't recognize yourself. You don't know how to be in your own skin anymore, how to walk the path. You overgrew your old container, and the integration helps you to, as I said, to like anchor this new you into your body, into your physical body, into your energy field too, because your energy field changes. It patches itself. It is a cohesive expansion now. Who are you now? For many people, it also comes with a profound healing. Alicia mentioned your gifts begin to shine. So many people change careers. They're like, I cannot do it anymore. I hate my job. I always wanted to be that, and I was afraid to. And people start doing new things. It doesn't mean that everybody will become healers or change careers, but it can be a subtle change of just tuning into the hobby that you always wanted to do. Or I'm just looking at the flowers here, if they want to give me more clues here. Columbine zinnia, yes, beautiful combination in terms of connecting you to your higher self, to your belonging into the world, who you are as a person, and how you want to shine, and what you want to bring on the plate, and your coexistence with the planet too, and love and care for the planet and for other beings. So yes, this is a new addition, because I cannot ignore emails that keep coming and coming, and people are saying the same thing. It's like, I worked with Alicia, it was so profound, so many things changed. I'm like, I want to rediscover, I don't know who I am anymore. And I work privately with many clients, and I noticed that, oh my God, this is again the same thing. Like, why do I need to mix it again and again when it can become a ready-made formula that anybody can order? So this is why I added integration. And the thing is that not to rush to when to use it. And if you need to, put it in the refrigerator, put it in your fridge, keep it away from the sunlight, and let it wait for it to tell when it's time to use it. You will feel it, and then you will be all prepared and settled to take it. And
I want to just say, what is that feeling? Is it, you know what? I feel like a different person. Like, is it, because I'm so glad you brought that up, Anna, about don't rush to take it, because just like in the core emotional healing process, the last lesson is boundaries. And many people want to say, I want to have strong boundaries now. And many people may even rush to go into Lion's Heart first, just to have more strength. But that's skipping over the healing. Using Lion Hearts when you need strength, yes, but the importance is in the healing and the to, as we've been saying, not rush it. Also, if you're feeling that you're not, I mean, you're still in it. And most everyone can feel when you're still in it, you're not really, like, you're still dealing with a lot of issues, you're still dealing with a lot of symptoms, and you don't really feel differently, don't go to integration. And I think many people are like, okay, I don't feel good, so I want to just integrate all this, but I think and what I wanted to just clarify with you, if you agree with this, is that when you actually feel, wow, this isn't happening anymore, I'm showing up differently, I'm actually responding differently to family and, other people, and there's something else, I feel totally different right now, would that be the time for integration?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for this clarification. Yes, many times exactly that happened, that you shed something, something shifted, but you will feel it. It's it's this part that you kind of like, it's almost like a graduation party, you know? It's like it can take, I'm sorry but for saying that, but it may take years. Are
I
you
don't apologize, because it's so important to set the right expectations. That's mostly what I do is really is set the right expectations. And it still continues, I think, it takes if you're consistently doing it with the support, you will drastically change within 6 months to a
Mm,
year if you have consistent support through the process. Some people take 2 years, at that point, yes. If you're trying to do this on your own and dabbling with some support here and there and things like that, it may take longer. And it always takes long to get through the layers and get through the deep stuff for everyone. So you may significantly change, take integration, and then get into a deeper layer. And that's why the core emotional healing process and my logo even is a spiral. It's, the process is a spiral. You're going to keep revisiting it. And that's why it's important to learn the lessons, because you don't have to keep revisiting the lessons, because you'll have this experiential knowledge within yourself to
mm.
know what to do, and then with your formulas to know what to take. Eventually it will be easy and intuitive of what to do, what to take, what you need. I mean, that when you get to that place of knowing what you need and knowing how to take care of yourself, it's then your healing continues, but it's just a way of life, and it's not all the time. You're living a different life, you're living for a new place, a new empowered place, a new more peaceful place, but you're still feeling a lot, and you're still feeling intense emotions at time, and you know how to take care of them.
Yes, yes, and it's exactly, it's a spiral, but the most important message that I want to convey is not to be disappointed. Healing is not just something that is an end goal, like riding a marathon, that you cross the line, you got your prize, and you live happily ever after. It's just, life doesn't work this way, and we are complex beings, and we work as a pendulum. Every day we meet new people, new challenges. But as Alicia said, the more when you get this foundational knowledge, and when you go through the healing process once with the support, and you train yourself how to be an adult, then your healing process become like an adventure on your life path, and you don't feel lost, miserable, or like a lost child. You now deal with everything that the world brings, but from the position of an adult. And yes, no illusions, it may take time, but yeah, getting the right support in this foundational stage when you're just learning to walk as your, and reparent your inner child, that's very important. So let me see. Did I answer all the questions? Let me just take a look and see. Integration, we covered. Lion's heart. I think I went through all the questions that I had on my list. Do you have anything else to add, Alicia?
I just think, like, how long would someone take integration for?
Oh, a month. I mean, full bottle. I mean, every formula, unless you really fall apart, as we talked about, and you need to back off, and you come back and it happens again. I would take at least a month. And the thing is, Dr. Edward Bach, who started the flower remedies in the 20th century, his expression was, work 1 month for each year you experienced that particular trauma or issue or symptom. And it's hard to predict some things, but with things like integration, is take it as long as you feel you know what you're doing. It's almost I'm thinking of a perfect example. So the flowers here really help you tune in your, like, it's almost as a full card in tarot. You're in the beginning of a completely different journey. The whole world is the world of opportunities. Where would you go? What do you want to do? How your gifts that you feel are inside of you want to be expressed in the world? I would say a month, or if you feel you need more integration, even a couple of months. But I would definitely do a full month, just relax into the formula. And if you finish your, the core emotional healing self-study, you pass this threshold of you feel that you are a new person now, you can stop taking any formulas after that, or you can just stay with Lion's Heart. I don't want to say forever. I don't encourage, or I don't want to convey a message that you always have to be hooked on flower essences. But until you feel that you're fine on your own completely, and you can be fine for a couple of months, and you may want to a little bit more strength. So you can.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to clarify. It's not necessarily that they've gone through the whole self-study, because there's many people who have gone through the self-study who haven't gotten the support through their own process. But so I just want to clarify, if someone's gone through the self-study without support, you may not be at that place of integration.
Yeah.
If you've gone through all of the programs with support, you most likely will be at that place. Everyone who finishes and works with us, through the 6-week class and then the 6-month program, they do feel complete at that time for us, unless there's other people who needed another 6 months at that time. So there are people who are different and have different timing, life situations, resistance, traumas, protections, of course. But on average, when people work with us for 6 months, we do feel there's this completion within them of the major things that they needed to get to that place where they can start to be with their emotions and respond to their own feelings and take care of them, to be more authentic and authentically showing up with their truth. So I just wanted to clarify that. I did have another couple questions about the length that people take inner child and release. It seems to me like Sacred Lotus and integration seem to be a good, that's kind of like the opening and the closing, right? Where they take it for a month each, typically. The other ones, inner child and release, I would assume they're not taking it that long. Can you clarify?
Yes, with inner child, I still feel they can do a full month or even couple of months because they have enough of the flowers to get you deep in, but also support you to like get back into the light. So it's just like for some people, the concept, even the concept of inner child is so new. Then you connect to the inner child, then you learn to how to reparent. And I feel that you can stay with the inner child in the duration of all that time, unless
Is
you
there is there an exception, like when to what would be going on? What would they be experiencing when they, that would be an indicator of them backing off or stopping at that point?
well, one of the indication is when you process all the time, like it's too much, like you are almost you can't do anything else in the world. You're only like processing, and there's more, and there's more, and there's more, and you just exhaust yourself. And that will be a good indicator to stop like profound depression, I would say, if you go too deep, too dark, and cannot swim out. Yeah, when you sometimes the emotions can be overflowing and you just need a break in between. So I would say yes. For some people, yeah, with inner child, maybe 2 weeks will be enough for some healing process in like or addressing the particular trauma. It really depends on the case, because some people will go chunk by chunk. Some people will go, I don't know, like the whole theme, for example, of being or an abuse. It's something that they forgot, and it could be a theme that, oh my God, I suddenly remember there was a traumatic experience or an abuse. Oh, and it went into this time, right? And I've met a man later on who treated me the same way. So it could be a pattern or a certain theme, and you go through it and you let go. That's enough. So you stop. Like this is your
Yeah.
process.
So
And
they go through these things are being revealed, memories surfacing, and then it would be a good time, as we mentioned before, about like the emotions coming up and not being able to fully release them, stopping it filed and then taking release
Release.
until they have a full release.
Yes, that's perfectly put. I think that now it becomes clear. Yeah, with inner child, you work more on the theoretical part, and you're going like deeper into, basically you're working with your consciousness. Like you're just like digging into the surface, everything that happened, understand your reaction and the effects the past had on your present self. Then you already with some of the flowers, you begin like the healing process and like support on your heart. But then you really need, it's like a climax, you need to like it all out, and this is the time for release. And release, I think for me personally, couple of days of the release sometimes is enough. After that, it's just like I keep processing more and more and more. But as Alicia also mentioned, life needs to happen. Like you need to not just be in this trauma and release all the time. You need to go enjoy life, play in the sun, do something fun, love yourself. So with release, I wouldn't say be careful, but be very aware of yourself. Maybe 2-3 days is enough. Maybe it's a month for those that have a lot of resistance, or you just really cannot like move those mountains. And I think that if you have trouble with this final climatic release, reach out to me and Alicia. There are other healing modalities that are available, like the energy work, right? The sound healing, the shamanic healing, the soul retrieval. There are a bunch of things that can be done to help you. And I'm glad that that you brought it up, Alicia, that yeah, like with some things is release, for some people it can be easy. If you still are fully stuck, reach out, please. Mhm. Was there anything else that?
I think that it feels complete to me. Is a complete process. We can now take integration.
Yes, I would cheers to that. Cheers
Yeah.
to
Where's
integration.
the champagne? You can put integration in a glass of champagne and celebrate yourself.
Yeah, yeah, being creative and being, yeah, making this process your own. And yeah,
Or in some whatever brings you joy,
yeah.
Actually, that would be nice, like
Mhm.
putting it in a bath, integration in a bath, just
Yeah.
to stir yourself, to feel different, to
Mhm.
feel this more true self of yours, and whatever brings you joy that feels celebratory. I think it's really important, especially because we emphasize like doing this deep healing and feeling these difficult emotions. It's really important to also celebrate yourself and the small little successes along the way. Oh, I have this new awareness. Oh, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not reacting that way anymore. Oh, wow, it is working. Like like keep affirming that it is working. You are healing yourself, and to keep
Mhm.
doing that and celebrating. But yeah, doing like I love that idea of the integration celebration ritual or ceremony or dance party or something.
Yeah, exactly. And applied on you, make it
Mhm.
part of the process. Even if you, for example, if you paint, you can put the essences in your paint in and integrate and release this way. That's what I'm saying. Like there's no really it's creativity. And yeah, taking a bath, baking yourself a little cake, putting and
Mhm.
giving yourself a golden star, and also put an essence on that star and put it on yourself. Like
Mm.
it's like sky's the limit.
Oh yeah,
And
getting a tattoo that represents
yeah,
something and then putting it on the tattoo to,
mhm,
with that intention of setting this in, and knowing that you have released the majority of the old false ways around that one thing that you just integrated.
so interesting. Same was with me and my tattoos. I'm not saying that everybody have to do.
Yes, yes.
For me, many of my tattoos were, yeah, it was like a quintessence of a healing chapter. And also, the jewelry, you can put the essence and the essential oil on your jewelry and wear it. And as Alicia said, celebrate the steps. There's no such thing as a little step. It's a big step in a big healing process. So love yourself, celebrate yourselves and your achievements, not just all beating yourself up for something, but it's
Yeah, we tend to focus on what's still here, the problems, like focusing, this isn't happening, this keeps happening, and we lose sight. It's just like when we focus on the people who aren't giving us what we need instead of focusing on the people who are giving us what we need.
yeah.
We're just like retraining our minds to focus on what we do have, what we have done is important.
Yeah,
Great.
beautiful.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you so much. I think we covered everything, and
Yes.
we invite everyone that has more questions,
Mhm.
email us, and we will respond either email. We will do, if there are more questions, we will do another webinar. But thank you for being part of our journeys. Alicia, it's always a pleasure to be in your company, in your energy. Thank you for the work that you do in the world. Thank you for
Mm.
the feeling you brought me personally. It's always
Oh.
such a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Anna. Thank you for the work that you're doing that assists in the deep healing. It assists in everything that we're doing as well. And I love you and thank you. And thank you for offering this for everyone as well. And yeah, wishing everyone just continued healing and self-love and true self-expression. Yeah.
It's totally worth it.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Sending lots of love to everyone and hope to see you somewhere.
Next time.
Yes, next time. Okay, bye.
Bye.